This time on Captain Cass's laboratory, we're going to try something different. And I can't fix this piece that's sitting here at the top of the camera, or the top of your screen, because the step gear, which is hard to see because it's white on a white piece of paper, is broken. This gear that I've talked about that is really, really hard to find. I haven't found any yet, except in parts houses when I buy them. So, I took apart my Raven's Manor, which I did a video about just recently, and took the gear back out of it with the armature, or the, not the armature, the shaft. That's the silver sticking out. So, we're going to try gear casting, where I'm going to try and cast this gear using the materials here to fix that Limax Carnival piece. And if it works, I can fix other things too. Just have to recast the gear, because every time you cast the gear, your material that you cast in is, well, you throw it away. So technically I should be able to cast 10 different gears of that size. So what you need, and this is my first time, so if there's something missing, I'll be getting it in the middle of this filming, is a non-stick dry lubrication, dry film. You need some plasticine or modeling clay, which is just plasticine modeling clay. It doesn't say it there, but it says it on the back. You need epoxy. I'm going to use a 2-part clear epoxy that pre-mixes itself inside the nozzle. Still going to stir it. Some paper towel. A stirrer of some sort. You can use a popsicle stick. I got some of these plastic, I don't know, picks that I use. So something disposable, because you're going to throw it away. A file, so you can file a piece of aluminum as an example and make some powder, because the resin by itself is strong, but not as strong as it would be if it was reinforced with some powder. This is a block of aluminum. You can get aluminum powder, you can get aluminum blocks, you can use a soft metal, brass, copper. You can buy, sometimes you can just buy the powder. But I've had this block for, I don't know, over 2.5 decades that I've never decided what I'm going to do with it. This is a whole bunch of aluminum cans melted down. So this is a block of recycled aluminum cans. And get your rustiest, nastiest file, because of course, you know, it needs love too. So I got a file, and that's why you see all these stains, is you can do this and get some fine powder. But if you use the edge where the teeth isn't cross-hatched, you can get a little bit coarser powder. So what I've done is I've used both the flat and the side to get a mixture of different thicknesses, and then I just pour them in my little container. So, but whatever you have, I said I've had this block for literally 27 years and no idea what to do with it. Now I have an idea. So I'm going to set away the parts that I don't need now. These little mixing cups, or this little mixing cup that I have that has the powder in it, and these here, these are from Wendy's, the fast food restaurant. Whenever we go there, I get ketchup, and I just take a handful of these little guys, because they're perfect for doing small things. I figure I pay enough for a hamburger, I can take a couple of those for my time. So, let's pop this open, take out one of these pieces of clay. Okay. And move the clay out of the way. And you gotta mix her all up and blend her together. The reason I'm doing it on a white piece of paper isn't so you can see it better, it's because I don't want it picking up all the crap from the mat. It's bad enough it's going to pick up anything in my hands, which is why it's turning black. Because it's pulling at anything that soap and water couldn't remove. So, also, I just held aluminum, which turned my fingers black, so yeah, it is what it is. So, got that mixed up decently. Now, part of this is not only to clean your hands, is because it's got to catch some of the overspray. This will stick inside of the teeth on this. So that's where this comes in. So I'm going to flatten that out a little bit. And now I'm going to spray the gear. And I'm going to spray the pin so that way it doesn't get stuck in there. Oh, this stuff smells so good. And now push it straight down. And then I'm going to slide the pin in. I'm going to use this to ensure that it's in and that I have a good compression in the teeth, because that's the important part, is the teeth. Try not to drop it. Now on comes the fun part of separating the gear. Try and put a little hole in the bottom. It's not very good. So I'm going to try it again. So this is my first time. If anybody out there has casted with modeling clay and have any tips, you can always comment below or tell me what I'm doing wrong or what might be better. Come on. It's trying to push the gear out of the clay with the plastic from the bottom. Don't like that one either. Alright, third time's a charm. You can always skip ahead, since apparently I'm really good at screwing this up. Hey, that one looks really good. So, that's a much better casting. I'm going to leave the pin in, and I'm just going to push on the edges a little bit to make it stick to the paper. The reason I'm going to leave the pin in is so I have a center point, so I know where the hole is. Make sure that's pushed all the way down. So, now let's open up this. And this is just DAP, Tank Bond Clear Epoxy, in case you couldn't read it over there. Let's see what it says. So it must be dry and clean for adhesive. Don't point it at your face. Good idea. It's a 1-to-1. And then once we add it, it has to sit a minimum of 4 hours. So just pry out the top piece here because it's stuck. It says to pull it out, but it doesn't want to come out. Wow. Alright. And it says it's supposed to be a 1-to-1 mixture, so technically it should premix itself. That's the safety they put in the middle. So here we go. Oh, this stuff has a wonderful smell too. I'm just getting all the stuff that smells great. So now we're going to mix it up because we need to mix that powder inside into a stronger a bond by allowing it to blend. I'm going to add just a little bit more because if you have too little, you don't want to make a seam in your epoxy. I learned that a long time ago. But I want to make sure there's enough to fit inside of there. And now I'm just going to pour it out. Apparently I did a little too much. That's fine. Just gonna clean off the top a little bit. Make sure it's into the edges where the little gear is. There we go. And now I'm going to let this sit. Well, by the time this is cured, I'll be in bed since I have a job I start really early in the morning. So I'm going to let this sit for 24 hours. So when I get back tomorrow, I can check this out. I see that she's bubbling a little bit. Try and pop the bubble. It's bubbling in there too. It might be having a reaction with the plastic container or with the aluminum, which is very possible. And then the safety is the cap for this, so I can try and reuse this again in the future. Yeah, I got on my fingers. Awesome. So, it's a messy job. We're going to see if it works. I'm not going to put it in this because this is a pain to disassemble and reassemble, which you'll see when the video comes out. I'm going to bring in the Raven's Manor if this gear is cylindrical and it's not oblong because the clay is so soft. And we're going to try it in one of my pieces and see if it works or if it's going to break the rest of my house, since I had to pull it apart to get that one out. And I'm hoping I can get that metal pin out when we're done, and it doesn't stick to everything, since I did coat it. But yeah, we're going to find out tomorrow. So I'm going to leave it just like this, except I'm going to throw away the garbage. But tomorrow when I turn the camera back on and do the peeling of the aluminum and resin gear, we'll see if it works. Failure or not, it's going to go on YouTube. Look at that. I think I did a little too much of the metal flake too. So, I mean, if you want your gear to be expensive, you can get some nice gold flake and put it in there. All the flake is doing is adding rigidity to the resin to make it more rigid, so it won't flex as much and prevent failures. These white gears, they're nylon infused according to plastic hobby gear manufacturers I've been talking to, because I've been trying to source this gear, Matter of fact, yesterday, which was the 18th of July, because I don't know when the video is going up, I spent 2 hours searching, and I even contacted gear manufacturers who make plastic hobby gears, and I gave them the dimensions and the tooth count, and they told me they can't recreate the gear because the teeth are too close together for the diameter of this disc. I'm like, oh, that's nice. Well, somebody did, because they're in Lemax houses. So I am still trying to source the OEM, but I'm trying to find a way to fix it now, because I currently have 4 Lemax pieces that have this gear broken. So if I can perfect making a casting with my good gear, I can get those repaired and sent back to the owners. So this is going to be the first one, and if it's good enough, I'll try and do it better with the next one, and I might get a harder modeling clay because this stuff is pretty soft. This is just basic plasticine, and I'm not sure if they make it a little bit more rigid to make it easier. Don't use Play-Doh. So, but we're going to see what happens. So, see you in 24. Alright, we're back. It's been 24 hours, and it's all hard. So, let's peel this off and see if, well, if it worked, didn't work, if it's repairable, screwed up, so on and so forth. So, first, let's separate that. Start peeling this out. I'm hoping I can get that metal shaft out, because that goes to my house. I grabbed a small screwdriver to help clean out the teeth. I'd say it probably didn't work, since it just took a chunk off. It cracked. But we're going to find out. Maybe that was just a overage. This is a messy part. Trying to see if I had something that would clean this faster. Well, it kind of worked, but it didn't work. I'm not really going to clean too much more of it off, since it's garbage. Here's the inner teeth, which are right here. Here's the outer teeth. And then that piece that chipped off, well, that's the outer teeth. So, apparently it was a thin spot in the pore. And, yeah, so it didn't work. Teeth, the small teeth don't look horrible, where it did actually get thick enough around the outside edge here. So, but that metal shaft needs to come out. I have a funny feeling that it's going to break the rest of this pore. Oh, it didn't. Came out. Look at that. So, I guess I'm going to have to do another attempt at this. since the theory is there that it would work, I can't do it upside down because it won't have the middle teeth. As I said, my other option is take the broken one and try and find a gear and then carefully cut it and glue it to the new, and I might have to try that. I might actually still try that. I might try and do another quick resin casting, sand off some more of the aluminum. Not as much because this is really concentrated. Will this puck fall out? So this was my first attempt ever at casting, resin casting. Guy I work with does it, and he said I'm doing it the proper way based on how he does it. But not everything the first time you do it works. Sometimes you need to do it multiple times. Practice makes perfect. That, you know, old slogan. So it's an interesting little puck. It's hard to see, but you can even read the words that are imprinted in the bottom of these. So that's kind of cool. It's still sticky though because it's so thick. It's tacky. But yeah, that's an aluminum resin puck, and that's an aluminum resin gear that broke. And this is the piece that broke right here. And I can see the teeth when I hold it up to the light. I can see the teeth through this piece right here. That broke off. So, well, like I said, I had a total of 10 things of this. So maybe I'll try it again and see how the second one goes. This is all garbage. So, all right. So this was my first attempt at trying to cast. It was a failure. I had a funny feeling it would have been. It's been that kind of week. So I might give it a whirl again here. And if it works, that'd be great. Because I think I said I have 4 pieces right now that I have sitting here that I've been trying to find this gear for. So if I can cast 4, and they're fully functional, beautiful gears, that's 4 of these things that I can get back to their owners. So, alright, so thanks for watching. See my failure here, and it's time to try it again. Alright, I just whipped up another batch, which a lot less. You can kind of see the flake in there. It's not a lot less aluminum, and that's why it's a lot clearer, but there's still flake in there for rigidity. So what I've done differently is one, I wiped off my stir stick so it doesn't get stuck to the piece of paper. 2, less aluminum and a smaller amount of the resin, so it's not, you saw the cup was almost empty. And 3, I don't know if it's going to make a difference, but I put a little spray of this inside the mold and then let it evaporate a little bit to see if it'll help release these here. So, 24 more hours. Technically this says 4, but again, by the time the 4 hours rolls around, it'll be well past my bedtime, since I get up early again, like I said, in the morning. So, in 4 hours, it'll be fine. I'll check it in the morning before I leave for work, but I won't be able to peel it and show the outcome till I get back. So, but there it is. I'll get it back where the light can see it. There's a couple of bubbles that are rising to the surface. So I could apply a little heat, which will help, but they are rising. And the top, if this one works, the very top is domed, which has got to be flat, and you just take the flat gear and you rub it like this on sandpaper to make it flat, which in turn will remove the bubbles that are sitting at the top if they don't pop. So, all right, so another day of waiting, and we'll find out if it was successful on take number 2. All right, here is the second gear. I peeled it out and cleaned it using isopropyl alcohol and an old toothbrush. You can use a new one and just not tell whoever's toothbrush it is, and some sandpaper to clean the back. And the outer gear is nice, the thin teeth, but the inner gear, something must have happened. There must have been an air pocket, because I got a couple of mutated teeth. 1, 2, 2 spaces between the teeth, and then 1 tooth. So the outer teeth, the small ones, the ones I was more concerned about, is perfect. But the inner teeth, it has a lump right here, and the outer ones work nicely. So second casting is much better. It was a lot easier to take it out of the clay spraying this in it, but I'm not sure if this maybe reacted with the clay and that's why it mutated. So I'm going to keep practicing at making gears until I can perfect it. Practice makes perfect, what they say. But so take 2 is unsuccessful, but it's a lot closer. There's not a lot of metal flake in here because I didn't use a lot, so I'm afraid that this thing might be too weak because it flexes. I don't know if you can see the flex right there. So the other one was too brittle, and it didn't, well, it broke, so it didn't come out of the mold right. This one's real flexible, and it has a mutated section on the reduction gear. So I need to find that perfect mix of powder, so it's not so dense and looks like a silver disc, to resin ratio right there. And then I need to find a way to make the casting better, so when I remove the original gear, it doesn't distort, or if it's reacting with the DuPont nonstick. So I'm not sure what my issues are. All the people I found that do gear casting usually cast bigger gears, not fine teeth gears like this. They usually have the bigger teeth only. And they use the same plasticine I'm using, and they don't use this specific brand of nonstick. It just said it has to be a dry film lubricant nonstick, and so this was the only one I could find in stock. And I got it from Amazon, because even my, like a AutoZone or O'Reilly's didn't even have anything like that, or even the big box stores or Walmart. So anyhow, as far as this stuff goes, they said DAP is fine as long as it's a 2-part clear epoxy resin. The guy I work with recommended maybe getting the big mixing stuff, but he said the same thing. It's going to be really flimsy. You need to add something to it. So hence the aluminum block. But so 2 attempts in 1 video, both unsuccessful. Number 2 is a lot closer, but still no cigar. Number 1 broke in half. I'm not sure if that one would have worked if it didn't break, but just so you know what the sandpaper is for, is the overcasting on the back right here where it's not flat. You sit there and you do this, so that way you can expose all the teeth. So it looks like that with all the little teeth. You can see some of the teeth aren't showing because there's still some overcasting, but these teeth mesh fine. It's just these inner teeth don't, because when I cleaned it out with a toothbrush and a pick, it's a broken screwdriver, so I use it as a pick. I have, like I said, the mutated teeth right here. So anyhow, like I said, successful or unsuccessful, I was going to post the video, so here's the video. This is why I have a delay on a couple of the houses I'm fixing for people, is due to the fact that I need this gear. And so I'm gonna try it again. I still got 8 more attempts left, and we're gonna see if we can do it. So I'll probably set this one up, move this off my bench, and then bring the next piece in to get repaired. so that way I have room, because you can see my area is getting smaller since the edge of the bench is right here, and then this is at the front of my bench, and I got tools right here like my power supply, and then I have stacks of parts about 6 inches off the screen. So my area is getting smaller with all the pieces I'm trying to fix. So I'll set up another casting. I'll probably go do it in a different room so I don't move the clay, and we'll see how that one works. So until the next video, have a good one. Any suggestions on casting, if anybody's done it, I take suggestions. If you can throw them in the comments, that'd be great. Or if anybody has any ideas on where to find this reduction gear, because it's called a reduction gear or a step gear or a transfer gear. There's like 7 different names I found from different gear companies. The problem is, this is a 20.85 millimeter gear, and the biggest one I can find that's got similar teeth is 16. 16 millimeters is way too small. It needs to be the same diameter, and I'm talking the outer gear, not the inner gear. So the inner gear I found in the correct size, but the outer gear I can't, and it's very important since they're, you know, stuck to each other. So I might also try, like I said, and cut the nose off of the other gear that's broke, because the nose never breaks, and maybe attempt a pin where you drill and put a pin in there and glue them together. I don't know if you can see it, I can't tell in the viewfinder, but there's 4 dimples around this center hole. So to pin this, it would be pretty decently easy, because you have 4 dimples that you can line up a micro bit, such as that, where you can put that through and then find a piece of hard rod, like maybe a broken drill bit, and that you can glue in, and it'll cause the 2 gears to not shift away from each other. So like I said, there's several different options. I'm going to try them all because I'd really like to get these things done. And Max has told me they will not tell me where they source their parts from. I've asked them twice, and now I'm stuck. So, and when I've contacted hobby gear manufacturers, both the ones here in the US and the ones abroad, they have all told me the same thing, that they can't reproduce the teeth on here on this size disc. That one on the front they can, the back or the finer tooth gear, they can't do the teeth per inch, so the TPI is off for this diameter. Also, they don't like doing partial diameters. 20.85 millimeter, they would do a 20 or a 21. 20 would be too short, the 2 gears would be like this, they wouldn't touch, there'd be a gap, and 21 would be pressing so hard you'd just snap the teeth. So until the next one, thanks for watching, we'll be back soon.